Brooke here, and it's been a while since I've recorded something, so I thought today that I would just sit down and tell a story because my life is full of them. Not good ones. They're not like good experiences, like I wish they hadn't happened to me, but I guess as the audience listening to it, you probably think it's pretty funny, and I'm sure that one day I will look back on some of these stories and maybe laugh at them. So anyway, last week my sister and I had $30 and we were like, you know what, we're not careful with money, like let's just go to the mall and blow it all on food. After our little shopping and eating adventure, we leave the mall and I start like hitting the unlock button on the keys, and it's making like a really weird sound, but I'm not really worried about it. Like, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I just don't ever really pay attention to how it sounds when it unlocks, and maybe right now I am. I don't fucking know. I'm able to get into the driver's side, but my sister isn't able to get into the passenger side, and when I hit the keys to unlock all the doors, I notice that nothing's happening. The locks are twitching, like they want to open, but it's just not, like, they're just not happening. So I had to like reach over and manually unlock it, and my sister comes in and she's like, oh, it's not a big deal, like something's wrong with the keys. And in my head I'm like, it's a little weird that, you know, driver's side opened, but none of the other ones did, but I just kind of let it go. That's what I do. I let it go. But then things had to go and get considerably worse. Before I even turned the keys in the ignition, I had this overwhelming sense of like, I fucked up. I didn't know why, I didn't know where it was coming from, and I didn't want to say anything about it. I just wanted to like turn the keys and go home. But when I turn the keys, the engine does nothing. The lights are flickering, the car is making like this weird like sound. Realization dawns on me, but I still refuse to accept defeat. I need 100% confirmation that what I think is happening is happening. I go to flip on the headlights, and lo and behold, I left them on the whole entire time, which killed the car battery. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't the headlights automatically turn off after a while? Well, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, it turns out this car was only made for semi-intelligent people, unlike myself, because if you leave the headlights on and open the driver's side door, it like beeps at you, like it yells at you, and this happened to me as I was getting out of the car to go into the mall, and I had never experienced it before, despite driving this car dozens of times. I don't even know why I ignored it. I literally said the words, "shut up car," out loud and proceeded to go into the mall and stuff my face with pretzels. And I just need to point out this very important fact. You know, it was my dad's car. It wasn't my car. I don't own it. It's a really nice car and it is not mine. But that's not even the best part of the story. I called my mom, who called mall security, and there was lots of crying and fighting, and I don't even want to get into it. But while we were sitting there waiting for somebody to come help us, this nice looking gentleman, he looked like a nice looking kid. Like, he goes to the car, like parked like diagonally. Is that diagonal? Across from us, and he has all the tools to like fix a tire. Well, not fix a tire, I guess, but like to remove a tire and put a new one on. And I felt relief, because I was sitting there and I said to my sister, I'm like, we're not the only ones with car trouble. Like, maybe I can get out of the car, I can talk to him, we can bond over this. This can be a moment. But then as I lean forward to like get a better look at what he's doing, I realize that he's removing a perfectly good tire. Now, I'm no tire expert, but there just was nothing wrong with this tire. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know how, just this weird feeling. I knew that we were witnessing a theft. So this bitch proceeds to take the tire off of this car, which I have drawn the conclusion is not his car. He takes the tire off, rolls it over to his car, and then rolls this flat-ass, wobbly-looking tire over to the car that is not his. Then a really big, tough-looking guy and his girlfriend come over to their car, which is right next to the car that is being thieved from. And this kid drops his gear and runs back to his car, which I need to point out was literally 5 feet away. If his plan was to hide, it wasn't a good one. He was a tall kid. He didn't even get in the car, so it's not like he could have driven away. Like, if this car belonged to those people, he was screwed. Like I said, the boyfriend is a big guy, so I'm sitting there thinking that everything is taken care of. Like, he's gonna yell, he's gonna start something, he's gonna call mall security, he's gonna beat the guy up, and I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna let it happen. Turns turns out he was not going to the car that was being stolen from. He was going to a different, much nicer car. The little thief comes over, he starts picking up his stuff, they start laughing over it. It's just good times, apparently. Let me just move this stuff out of your way, man. You know, having tire troubles. Oh man, it's okay. You know, I thought you were stealing my shit, but clearly you're not, so you're obviously innocent. So I'm just gonna hop in my car with my girlfriend, who's really hot, by the way, and I'm just gonna drive away. Obviously not what was actually said, but you get the point. Now, while in the car, the boy and his girlfriend did look really suspicious, but ultimately they did end up just driving away, leaving me face to face again with this criminal. And I don't think I said it before, but he and I definitely made eye contact, and we kind of had like that awkward like half smile, you know, like when you don't know if you're like actually looking at each other because it's through a tinted window, so you're just like, this is awkward, but I'm gonna smile anyway. You know, if there's gonna be a moment, there's gonna be a moment. If not, it's okay, we can just go on with our lives. It's alright. I was so scared for some reason, even though this kid looked like he literally could have done nothing to hurt me. Like, I'm a weak ass bitch, but I probably could have taken him on. But anyway, I'm so scared that it doesn't even occur to me that maybe I should like walk over to his car somehow and get his license plate number. My sister is sitting there like Snapchatting the whole thing. I don't want to leave the car to go and get somebody because A, my sister's still in the car, and I don't want to leave the car behind because it's a considerably nicer car than the one he's taking the tire from. And what if he's like, oh, I want to steal this tire instead, and I'm already in trouble with my dad for killing the battery, so I just don't want to get in any more shit. When he leaves, the car that he leaves behind is slanted like 6 inches closer to the ground than it was before. I mean, it was a perfectly decent looking car, and the moment he leaves, all of a sudden it looks like it belongs in a junkyard. Mall security eventually comes out of the mall, I get out of the car. He and I have like a weird like staring match because, I mean, he obviously didn't know 100% where to go, so he just points at me like, it's you, and I'm like, yeah, it's me. And I kind of thought that maybe that was his way of like saying, oh, I'm coming over right now immediately to help you because clearly you're in an awful situation, you need help, your parents called and you're 20 years old, so something's up. He proceeds to just stand there and talk to some guy, like he's just chit-chatting it up. I think he was even smoking a cigarette. Rude much, sir? When he eventually does come over, I'm freezing cold and miserable, but I know to be polite to people, especially people who are going to fix your car. So I'm being like, you know, my nice, pleasant, people-pleasing self. I don't even get so much as a smile from this guy. No comforting words, no reassurances, no asking me about the weather. He's not even trying to be nice. He's just upset. Listen, I mean, I know your job isn't as glamorous as the movies make it out to seem, but you can't blame me for that. That's not my fault. I didn't set those high expectations. I am an adorable, tiny, small person. Be nice to me. Granted, that night I was wearing sweatpants, slippers, and a sports bra under like a really baggy sweatshirt, so I probably looked like a greasy 12-year-old boy. A side note, can I just say that I have no distinct memory of sitting down to watch Paul Blart Mall Cop, but there are, like, I can remember scenes in my head, I vaguely remember the plot, like, I have sat down to watch this movie, but I have no memory of doing so. I just know parts of the movie, and not like parts that you would have seen in previews, like substantial parts. Was the government so desperate to give this movie views that they like projected it into people's heads? Am I the only one who has this problem? Am I the only person who has seen the movie without actually seeing the movie? I really want to say that I would remember seeing it in theaters because that's just like an experience, you know? Like, I also want to say that I hope I never saw it in theaters because that would just be a real testament to who I am as a person. But anyway, this guy and another girl that came over jumped my car, and I told them about the tire thief, and they said they were going to do all that they could do, which, by the way, they did get a little bit snarky with me when they asked if I had gotten the license plate number. Like, I'm sorry that I didn't go out of my way to stop crime. I'm not Batman. I don't have a fucking boomerang shaped like an animal. I can't save every car in a parking lot, although I do feel like maybe I need to like start some movement, like save the tires, like hashtag save the tires, you know? It was just a crazy night, and I understand that it doesn't sound like much, like stealing a tire is really not that big of a crime. I mean, it's awful, I wish it didn't happen. I also wish kind of that I had done something to aid in the process that then probably followed the person finding out that they no longer had a tire and they would have to buy a tire, and it looked like there was like a college campus like tag on the fucking mirror, which meant that they're probably a poor college kid, which means that they probably don't have money to like go out and buy a tire, which means they probably had to ask their parents for the money. And I know how awful it is to ask your parents for money, especially if you're in college and you're trying to be independent, which I know I'm not in college, but I am trying to be independent. I feel like I just talked too much about like the dumbest thing, but that's what I do, and I'm happy about that. So yeah, that was story time with Brooke, which maybe I'll make a thing. Story time with Brooke. Until next time, see you later, dweebs. Woo!